Hey, this is Robbie, aka the Heat Daddy, and you're listening to Missin Curfew, fella.
Fella,
My man.
Monday's up, dog.
That's right, baby.
Thanks to
Week Daddy.
Weegsy, baby.
Who's over in Europe, Daddy. Just mixing it.
I saw his Instagram post from Budapest, Hungary. Supposed to be a fucking city, man.
What
Must
a
be
name of a
time.
town, huh? Budapest.
Have you ever been to Hungary? No, you went to Turkey.
No, but we played Hungary and I took that guy's head off one time in the
World Championship.
Yeah, poor fucker.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, pull
blast.
that clip up of Uppy saying Makar should have been suspended, and pull that clip up.
I got suspended. Two
You
games.
should have been you kicked out of the league forever now.
Two games at World Championships. I think I'm the only guy to get sussied at the World Championship. I was clean though.
I loved it. It was great. Heads up there, fucking Team Hungry. This is how we play over on the other side
Well, I
of the
had
pond.
so much room on the ice. I was just, if you watch the shift when, fans can, I was just skating around like I was fucking doing drills.
Princey, I want you to find the clip and I want to do a poll of how many games Upshaw would get for this hit. Now, not even World Championship, NHL. You would have got fucking 20 games.
Yeah, but no one in the NHL is ever going to put themselves in that spot because the guy was skating up the ice with his head down.
I know, but you would have got kicked out of the playoffs. You would have been like Rafi Torres stuff. You're fucking out of here, Upshaw. So thank you to Weegsy, baby. Updog, we got Robbie, aka the Heat Daddy.
Heat Daddy.
Social presence. This guy seems like a beauty. We wanted to get him on. So
I think our fans will love him.
Yeah.
I would say 90% of our fans and our listeners that are hockey listeners follow this kid, don't know who he is.
Yeah.
So here he is.
Heat Daddy.
Coming at you.
Welcome back to Mr. Curfew. Updog, my man.
Big boy. What's up, fella?
Hey, we're trying to figure out this podcast game, this social media game. We don't fucking know what we're doing, but this kid does. So we figured, I think I had a little Instagram live with him too for a minute with Kevin Connolly. But
yeah, well, when you have a last name like this, you got to be fucking,
yeah,
you got to be buzzing.
So, Robbie, aka the Heat Daddy, fella, what's up? Thanks for joining the boys. What an outfit.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. This is cool.
When you bring babes home, do you wear that outfit? Like, do you go full on like helmet with the tinted visor and the jersey? What do you got, 69 on the back of that thing?
Yeah, I actually do, man. Can you see it? Yeah.
Bone Daddy. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't come off. I actually got the helmet surgically attached to my head. So even if they want it off, it doesn't come off and it fucking stinks. So, yeah, I just got to battle through it.
You give her like the stinky finger too. Eh? It's like hockey gloves. Like only a girl that dated a hockey guy understands what the hockey gloves are.
Yeah, for sure. Like I have these on for this and it'll reek the rest of the week. But like I said, you just got to keep battling through it. It is what it is.
You're like, hey, babe, is that you or me? Is that my hockey gloves? Or is that you that's stinking?
Hey, it's like, were you one of those guys that come home from like practice and just throw your gear in the middle of the living room and let it just air out or what?
Yeah, for sure. My billets were so mad, dude. I like every time I brought my gear home because I played like junior F hockey and half the time we couldn't even leave our gear at the rink because our rink sucked. So yeah, I would just throw my shit everywhere and stink up the whole house. It was a nightmare.
Would this be your style if you're in the show right now? Would you go tinted visor, Ovi style, or is this like what? Or is this just your part of your character? But if you were playing, would you go tinted visor?
I'm not sure. I don't think I'm talented enough to pull it off. I feel like you have to have some skill, but maybe, who knows? Yeah, I would definitely do something extravagant for sure.
Hey, let's go back. Obviously, you're a Long Island boy. You obviously played hockey growing up, but how did the Heat Daddy thing start? How did you get into social media? Like, are we always intrigued in it? And it just kind of started flowing for you?
Yeah, so I used to tweet a lot on my personal account, and it got to the point where I was on a team in New Jersey, and the GM was like, hey, you kind of have to stop tweeting this shit. And in my head, I knew like, hey, I'm not playing Division I hockey. I'm not going to get paid to play this sport. Like I don't have to have the cleanest image. So I stopped tweeting on my personal account and I watched a YouTube video made by Ottawa Ghost. It was called Danny Heatley in the House. And I saw it and I just thought it was, fucking hilarious. And I kind of was, that comedy was right up my alley. So I basically made a different account with the Heatley profile picture, kind of ended up narrating his career a little bit, mixing in shit I was doing. And it went from there. Yeah, it was weird. I was just pretty much, it was a spinoff of that YouTube. It was awesome.
Yeah, you just brought up a great story. It brings me back to, I lived in Kelowna when he did that Cribs and he lived like not far from me, maybe 5 fucking minutes down the lake. And when that video came out, I was like, whoever is doing this voiceover Like this is so bang on. It's and if you know Heater, and we played both play with Heater.
Heater's the man.
Like he loves crushing beers. He loves just fucking like, oh, look at all these fucking sticks in here. Look at this fucking big beer bin. All they do is put beers in there. But our fans, like they probably have no idea. Maybe, well, most of them do about this video. We got to post it because it obviously gave you a light to, you know, bring in his comedy because he's hilarious.
Yeah, man. I remember when he was shooting pucks into the lake with no shoes on. I remember like I would be doing the same. I would be like in the driveway of my billet's house with like no shoes on, and me and my roommates were just like drinking, and like we were just doing asinine stuff. Like we were just drinking Jaeger bombs and like firing pucks and stuff like that. And I actually messaged the dude on YouTube. I'm like, hey, I'm a big fan, and I made this little spin off Twitter, and I think he replied, it was like cool, but it had like 300 followers, or not even. It was just like hockey guys I knew. Never expected it to go anywhere, but yeah, I got to credit him for like starting that persona, and I just related to it. So I ended up, you know, making a Twitter about it, and yeah, it was weird how it took off. Yeah.
You seem like you would have been a good locker room guy, right? Me and Updog took pride in being a locker room guy. When you played junior hockey, were you the type of guy that loved being in the room, and that just kind of came natural to you?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, that was like, you know, that's actually probably the reason I aged out. I played till 21, and I knew like at 18, you know, this is just, I wanted to play as long as possible, be with the boys as long as possible. You know, the bus ride, everything. You guys know all that shit. But yeah, that was a huge part of it for me, for sure. Like I was getting healthy, you know, 12, 13, 14 games in a row. I did not really care. Obviously I wanted to play, but I was having a good time regardless. Yeah.
Well, did you throw any big chews? You look like you might have threw a chew in back in the day on the bus. Were you one of the guys that, if I said, hey, Daddy, throw me some Skull Mint, were you chewing back there, or what were you doing? Playing cards, or what were you doing?
A little bit. Yeah, I was more of a drinker, to be honest with you. Like I know you could do both, but I got into the dip a little bit my first year. And then I actually went home my first summer back at home from being away. My mom saw a tin. I think it was like something really greasy. It was like kayak grape. She was like, don't do that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of like leaned off it. And I leaned into the, you know, the juice instead. But yeah, on the bus, cards, all that stuff. Yeah.
Robbie, what is this podcast? You know, so you started this, you know, Twitter handle. What kind of doors has this opened up for you? Like, obviously you played hockey and you got like a knack for it. Half the stories you probably share on Twitter are like what's up in your sick mind. But what kind of doors has this opened for you? Like, have you, anyone ever approached you on doing something? I know you had a podcast that you did at 8 p.m., Wet Jeans, but like, what do you see this turning into, and what do you know, what's your ultimate goal with it?
You know what? I'm a big writer. I really like to write stuff like that, but I don't have like I don't want to say I'm lazy, but it's tough to sit down and, you know, write like a comedy or something like that. But eventually, probably something like that, to be involved in some sort of TV production or movie or something like that. But for doors opened a lot, man, like really random stuff. Like I'll give you a quick example. Like when I was selling t-shirts in my dorm, that was going really well for me. And I remember just pissing all the money away. Like it wasn't a lot of money, but for a college kid it was. And I was just pissing it away. And I was like, I got to do something. So I ended up getting my real estate license to try to, you know, invest in something. And I actually ended up selling a bunch of houses to like guys in the league, a lot of athletes, like 6-7 years down the line. So up until recently. So I actually like guys on the Coyotes and stuff like that. I'm actually like their realtor, and people don't believe that at all. And I don't blame them. But that's an opportunity that came my way. Even like my real estate broker's like, who the fuck is this kid? Because, you know, I kind of have long hair. I'm never in the office, literally. But yeah, that's a big door for me that opened. So I could do that. And then on the side, pursue like creative stuff, you know?
So how did the Wet Jeans podcast start? I mean, you know, me and Updog, we just started this thing that kind of rolled for us. Was it the same thing for you? Just you and your buddy? I think his name's Andy Champs. How did you guys get it going? You guys known each other a long time, party together, or what's your relationship with him?
Yeah, so I was billeting in Concord, New Hampshire, which great people, but it's an absolute dump. And like when we would go out, I wasn't really kind of going out at the time, but the kid I lived with, that was his friend. So I kind of got involved with that friend group, and we would go to UNH and party, come back to Concord, back and forth. And since from that, we were just good friends. I ended up going to Arizona State. He went to a few other schools, ended up transferring in Arizona State because I think he was looking at my Instagram stories like, what the fuck am I doing in Chicago at, it's cold. But yeah, and we just, I just knew that I didn't, to be honest with you, man, I just didn't want to do like a real job. Like I hated it.
I feel
like
you.
I was working.
I feel you, buddy.
Yeah. Like I was working in some shithole Phoenix, real estate place. And like my boss was a prick. And I was like, dude, what am I doing here? Like it was just a nightmare. So we just hopped on the mics and we're actually going back from LA to Scottsdale because he moved to LA and he moved here. And yeah, man, we just started, 100 episodes deep now, or a couple hundred. But yeah, we just liked having a good time talking shit. That was pretty much it.
I know how you feel about not getting a real job. When I was in the American League and I look across at this guy that's 6'4", juiced up out of his mind, I'm like, fuck it, I'll fight him because I don't want to go back and have some fucking bullshit job either. So I know what you're saying, but wet jeans, we all like wet panties, I know that, but where did the wet jeans come? Where did this fucking name come? Did you piss yourself when you drank or something? Why wet jeans?
So we've actually never said it before, but I'll kind of just give you a little summary. But
okay.
We were in Santa Monica trying to figure out, what we're going to do with this thing. Is this realistic? Like, because we're both not really, there's no, like you guys know that there's no blueprint for podcasts. You're just kind of like, run and gun. One of our buddies spilled a drink on himself somewhere and we just started like spitballing. Like, it would be funny if we named it like, he was wearing khaki shorts or like wet khakis or piss khakis. And all of a sudden the name just popped out and we're like, that's it. So yeah, it comes from that.
What's your favorite thing you like about Danny Heatley? Well, like when you look at, have you met him before?
Have you met him? Yeah. Have you ever met him
before?
No, man, I never met him. People always ask me like, I remember people were asking me, do you want to meet him? And I was like, I did it at the time because I thought it might be weird because he started getting like a lot of attention when the account blew up. Like I remember like Minnesota radio hosts and shit were asking questions. I'm like, God, this guy probably fucking hates me, because I'm like running this parody account that's like, directly involves him. So I kind of stayed away from, I didn't know if I wanted to meet him or not, but I've heard nothing but good things. His agent actually emailed me when I was in school, like, who the hell is, selling these t-shirts? And I told her, I'm like, I'll send you a picture of my dorm room. It was just ceiling to floor, just stacked up with t-shirts and all the merch. I'm like, I'm just some kid at ASU, like putting myself there. I remember I failed a couple of my online classes. So you have to repay. And I was like using that money to stay in the class. So I didn't have to like tell my mom I have to redo the class and pay again and stuff. So I would just sneakily re-enroll in it. And I was using the money for that type of shit and to party and stuff. And then after that, she was like, oh, okay. Like, keep doing what you're doing. No worries. He doesn't care. So like, that was pretty cool that, he let me do that. Cause he didn't have to. He probably could have shut down the merch I was selling in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'd stay at ASU for 5 extra years too. Fuck selling t-shirts.
Just slinging t-shirts, chasing broads. That doesn't sound bad at all. Hey, slinging tees, chasing broads.
Come on.
Yeah, dude. I just like stopped going to class too. Like I was on academic probation, like for the hockey team at one point. Like I had a 0.92 GPA, like not even a 1, like a 0.92. And it was probably because I was just selling shit out of my dorm and just pissing the money away on partying. Like, not that that's like, in hindsight, probably shouldn't have done it, but it was awesome at the time. I thought I was like the man.
Yeah. Hey, I hear you, buddy. I thought I was the man at one point too. You would love Heater, man. I played my whole career against Heater, obviously, and then I was down in the jungle. And right at the deadline, we traded for Heater to San Antonio. So I'll never forget, first home game, he's like, Obes, where's the guy get a beer here after the game? I said, I think in the trainer's room Heater, there's probably, and there was a 6-pack in there. By about the 4th home game, Heater had 24 on ice in there. And he's like, I'm like, Heater, I can't sit here and drink 12 beers with you after every fucking game. A, I got to drive home, and B, I'm getting fatter by the second. So he was a beauty, man. I love Heater.
And he was one of my first like NHL moments. I was in Nashville, my very first training camp. And I think my first or second game was on the road in Atlanta. And it was him and Kovalchuk out there. And he looks at me being an Alberta kid, and he's like, you're the next fucking kid from Alberta coming up here or something. He says something to me, And then he went out and scored 4 in this exhibition game. And I was like, he's the sickest hockey player I've ever seen play. And it was kind of my first, like, holy fuck, these guys are good.
He had sick style here too. He had sick style.
You know,
it's crazy because the stuff that I would tweet, so many people would ask me, like, you know him? Because it's such like a similar. And I was like, no, dude, like, I don't know him. I just like, I feel like the guy that created the video like hit the nail on the head. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about him, like a great teammate, all that stuff. But yeah, it was I don't know if I could say I had the opportunity to meet him, but I was definitely reluctant because I was like, fuck, dude, I don't know if how this guy feels about like what happened, because it blew, like, I didn't think it was gonna fucking blow up, you know? Like I was like on the team bus and our goalie turns around, he's like, dude, you got like 2,000 followers now, because Taylor Hall retweeted it like out of nowhere. So I definitely owe him a beer. And then from that, it just like exploded. So yeah, but no, I'm sure. Yeah, I've heard nothing.
If you ever meet Heater and you want to just get in his good books, just bring him 12 beer or 24 beer. And be like, nice to meet you, Heater. And he'll throw those babies on ice, and you'll be his best buddy. He's the ultimate team guy. Like, he just loves being at the rink. He loves going for dinners. He loves having beers with the boys. Like, it was great for me. Another great Heater story. The first 3-on-3, like in the jungle, you got to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we were both older. So first 3-on-3 on the Sunday, I'm not on the bus because I told Tom Rowe early in the season I'm not playing 3-and-3s. So Heater's like, well, where the fuck are you? I go, Heater, I don't play 3-and-3s. And he's like, this will be my last. So then he told Tom. So anytime there was a Sunday game, me and Heater would stay back in San Antonio and be able to enjoy our day together. So it was great.
You guys went to the Final Four one year too, didn't you?
He called me up. The boys were heading on a bus ride to Oklahoma, and we weren't going. And he said, this was Saturday night, and I was just getting tuned up. And he's like, you want to go tomorrow to? It was in Indianapolis. Wisconsin's playing in the national championship basketball. I said, you got room for 2? This girl I was dating at the time. He's like, yeah, I got room for 2. So he had a private bird fly us to fucking Indianapolis, watch the game, and fly us back. Yeah,
nice.
It was unbelievable.
See, that's Danny Heatley for you right there.
That's Danny Heatley,
Legend.
brother.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wait, so you could just tell them, like, I'm not going to play 3 games in a row?
Well, listen,
when you're Heatley,
we had a good team. We were. This was near the end of the year, and we were going to win our division. And Tom Rowe, who's an old school guy, just said, T-Rex, listen, bro, like, we got 7-8D. I'm not fucking driving a bus ride to Oklahoma City and play. Like, it's just not happening. Like, and he agreed with it. And then it just worked out that Heater showed up there. And the one day me and Heater were supposed to show up to practice on, the team wasn't there. He's like, T-Rex, he's like, kind of funny how both you and Danny were sick today. I'm like, it must be a cold go around, coach.
That's all time. That's unreal.
I wanted to ask you, so you kind of answered this question a little bit. You moved, because you were at Action Park Media with our boy Kevin Connolly, who helped us start this podcast. So you were coming into LA, recording, then going back to Scottsdale, and you boys just decided it'd be a lot easier to do it out in Phoenix?
Yeah, it was tough. Originally, when we started, we were doing that because me and Andy and I were in different cities. And then when Action Park came into play, we're like, you know what, we'll give it a shot again, traveling back and forth. It just got like too much.
Yeah.
It was too crazy. It's tough, you know, even like little things like, you know, merch and doing things like that. It's hard when you're not in the same city. So yeah, we just decided like, let's kind of get locked in Scottsdale, see what we could do here. And maybe we'll go back to LA in the future. But for now, yeah, we kind of decided like to stay put.
Yeah, the same for us. We were. It was during COVID, so when we started doing it, we would zip up in the Sprinter van, and the Sprinter van was costing us more money than we were making. And then we're like, fuck, once COVID's over, there's no way we can continue to go to LA, man, because it's going to take us from not 45 minutes, it'll take us 2 hours to get there. So we know what you're saying. We loved our time at APM, but it was just like same thing, too much for us, like driving up and trying to do everything. And so we lucked out with this place.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Like we were buying flights and stuff and like just throwing it all on credit and we're like, I'll pay it later. Who cares? And it was like racking up bills. And honestly, when we got there too, like we were treating it like it was a vacation. Like those guys at APM, they would, they would get us into restaurants we definitely shouldn't have been at. And they would, so we would kind of go a little crazy and forget we're there for like, business. But yeah, it was a little tough with the travel and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, same boat, same thing.
Don't worry, Con's got us at some parties when we were younger that we probably shouldn't have been in either. Yeah. And we were national leaguers, but we were still at some of these parties in the hills being like, holy fuck, this is...
We still think we're in the right party.
Yeah, like this is unbelievable. Look at this. There we go. There's Vin Diesel walking by. What's up, Vin? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, so who you been, what have you been focused on the Twitter? Have you been trolling anyone lately? Like the playoffs going on right now? What do you what kind of clickbait you been using?
Yeah, man. I've been trolling a lot, but it's not me. It's honestly just because I've been drinking a lot of wine every single night,
Me
like 'cause
too,
the
bro.
playoffs, and I just like when the playoffs are on, dude. I feel weird if I don't have a drink in my hand, and that leads to me kind of like getting reckless. I've been talking shit about Gary Bettman, how he needs to pay the players, which is like, people always come at me and they're like, "Hey, man, there's a lot of things that go into the players and their pay." I know, but I've been pretty rattled at the Hurricanes for no good reason whatsoever, just because I want to fire up their fan base.
Yeah.
And and I'm trying to think of a couple other ones.
Let me jump in real quick on the Hurricanes fan base, bro, because they're tough. They're nasty. We said last week on Missin Curfew, I said to Updog, this is going to be a snooze fest. Like, let me see the ratings on TNT and ESPN with the Hurricanes and Devils. And they came at me last week, bro. They came at me with some heat. And I think I saw you tweet something like, these Hurricanes fans, pound for pound on social media, are as ruthless as anybody.
Yeah, they're psychotic. They're absolute freaks. I opened up my DMs. I usually have them closed just because it's usually a lot of negative stuff. I dish it out. I could take it back, but it was all Hurricanes fans. Like I didn't even know there were that many people in that state. I mean, it was just like or those states.
Passionate.
They were just like giving it to me. I respect it though.
Have you been to a game? Because I responded to some of them, and that's actually I was going to ask you about that. I loved playing in Carolina. It was a great place to go on the road. It was a place where I got some sleep, right? There was nothing to do. I got a nice dinner, go to bed, wake up. So I like their fans and it's rocking. Have you ever been to a game there?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. They tailgate, as Updog knows, they tailgate, and it's pretty ruckus. I just thought from a television perspective, it was going to be.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But they don't fuck around.
No, yeah. I actually, speaking of places that are crazy, I went to a Panthers game on a Saturday night. It was, I think it was last year, and everyone, there's always a stigma or whatever you want to call it. And people are like, oh, hockey in Florida, dude, the rink was it was a buzzsaw. It was crazy in there. My mom was in the city. I took her to the game and she doesn't really go to games. And she was like, what is this? Like, it was like a club. It was awesome. Like, so I've kind of been tweeting out a bit too, like put respect on the Panthers arena. Like it was fucking amazing. It was sick.
Yeah, it was rocking the game.
Playoff, playoffs. I went to a game 7 our first round there. It goes off. Yeah. It goes off the charts. And then they put those clubs in there. They got that red club, and then they did the Panther club. They kind of know how to attract the people that want to mix it up.
It was good. They had that fucking Haslam that's still playing basketball for the Heat somehow. That guy's fucking older than us.
Did he come to the game?
He did like the fucking charge up thing. Yeah, where you get him going. Yeah, I'm like, how fucking old is that guy? He's still playing?
No, he can't be.
Yeah, they said he's retiring after this year. This will be his last year.
The Heat are good too.
The Heat are really good. Jimmy Buckets. Hey, I want to ask you about on social media. Sometimes I struggle, like not struggle, but like I'll have a response ready to fire out, and then I back off. I'm like, I better not say that. Like, right? Are you like
hockey ones or political ones?
Just not political ones. Although I could really stir the pot with that. But more like I want to rip this guy. Like it's some fucking loser from wherever, and I got it here, and then I back off. Are you always responding to him? Like you got 255 followers on Twitter. Like that's a lot. I can imagine the heat you got going. Do you let him have it back or just take it with a grain of salt? Like it is what it is.
It's half and half, to be honest with you. It usually depends if I'm drinking or not. Yeah. If I'm having a couple, I'll fire back. But yeah, man. Sometimes the backlash is crazy. Like I'll say shit and people will take it out of proportion. I'll wake up the next day like with fucking like pirate eye, like one eye just like scrolling through, like what did I say? Like and there's like tons of people like just coming at me. I'd say it's half and half. I definitely toe the line, but like I'll give you an example. Like some journalist I responded to, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but he went to my Instagram and he kind of like found out personal information about me and stuff like that, and it was getting like weird. So I'll stay away from anyone that's really gonna like take it away off Twitter. But if it's just Twitter back and forth, yeah, I have no problem.
I did a podcast last week and I said, the one guy was upset about Updog's tweet. I said, listen, when the red wine gets flowing, the Updog, nobody's safe.
What did I say again?
Nobody's safe on Twitter. Updog was letting this guy know about the Tampa Bay Lightning. He was kind of letting the Lightning, and Updog went back at him. And I did his podcast. He's
Andy Strickland.
Updog was coming out and going, listen,
I
run a strict show.
Nobody's safe when the Updog has the Camus open and the fucking Twitter fingers going. Right? You like to
for
tweet.
sure.
Yeah, you like to tweet.
But for us too, and this is a little different, right? Because you get to you not say hide behind the parody of your account, but like, you know, your name isn't really attached to it on a public fucking marketplace, right? And you're like,
yeah.
So you can kind of go, and your fans are just as big of mutants as our fans too. Like when you're tweeting drunk, they're drunk tweeting back at you. They're not, drunker. They're drunker. They're all at home watching the games too, just fucking probably just double licked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helps that I don't have, you know, like you said, like I don't have a credential. I don't have, you know, I don't have a whole lot to lose, basically. So like, I'm not gonna have a lot of repercussions, like in my like professional life, which I don't really have one. But yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah,
I just
totally.
The one thing with me, to be honest, is I kind of gauge it on like if I feel like having all these mentions. Like I tweeted something the other day, and I'm still getting tweeted about that guy who hit what was it, Heiskanen in the face?
Yeah.
Or was it Heiskanen?
Yeah, it took the puck in the face. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And still this morning, people are like, you fucking idiot. Like it got deflected off Suter, da-da-da. And it's fine reading it. I don't care. I get called a fucking idiot every single day.
Yeah,
it
me
doesn't
too.
bother me. But sometimes like 3-4 days of just like reading it, I'm just like, I shouldn't have said anything. It's just annoying.
Just put out a naked photo of yourself. It'll totally change how their mentions are coming at you.
Yeah, I'm glad the news cycle is pretty quick. I always talk about that.
I'll switch this up. Watch this.
Sometimes it's fun to get the Twitter mutants going though. Like for example, last night I was so fucking bored watching my money go out the window with the Oilers that I just tweeted out like who I would play as the 6 defensemen as the next game, and I knew what was coming, and it was almost entertaining for me. And then another thing last week, the Canucks color job, I'm like, I'm gonna fuck with people on Twitter. Next thing you know, I got like 25 texts, people being like, congrats on the job, Opes, looking forward to you. I'm like, I didn't get the fucking job. I'm just fucking around here, boys. So sometimes it's fun to fuck right back with, I guess is what I'm saying, Heat Daddy.
Yeah, like I'll give you guys a tip. If you ever need to change something up, just put out a list. If you put out like a top 10 athletes, or I listed like top 5 sandwiches, and like people go nuts. They're like, what? Jimmy John's is better than Jersey Mike's. And it'll just last for days. The top 10 athletes list I do go crazy. So that's a good one to kind of reroute.
Hey, Heat Daddy, I got to ask you, like, you know, me and Updog, one of the reasons we played in the NHL or wanted to play in the NHL was for girls, right? So when you got 255,000 followers and you started becoming famous, even though it's kind of a Heat Daddy, like not you, did your DM start to blow up a little bit with some broads, or how, it's got to help a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like sometimes like I'll this is definitely a joke. I don't really do this for real, but I'll turn on my notifications if there's like a hot girl around, and my phone is just like bling, 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 bling. And like, oh my God, what is that? So like that's kind of a conversation starter, but yeah, dude, definitely. Even at ASU, it was weird. Like there was, you know, a handful of Canadian girls that I'd say, you know, my audience is almost probably half Canadian on the dot. And they just knew about it. And that definitely, like I said, was a conversation starter. And yeah, it definitely helped with the chicks.
100%, right? I mean, that Instagram was just coming when I was near the end of my league, but I can't imagine some of these guys now with this. It's kind of... You don't have to go out anymore, Ups. You know,
I know. It might have saved your career.
Yeah,
you might
really
have another
don't.
couple.
I would have had
games.
a little more hop in my stride for sure. Because remember looking at your clock, you're like, fuck, it's 12 right now. If like, I don't know, I'm looking 130 right in the face here. Like now you're just fucking Twitter fingers or Instagram fingers. So it's got to be nice for these young guys.
So what do you got? What do you got storylines right now coming up? Like, what do you see happening? You know.
Yeah, let me ask you about the refs, because I know I've been ripping the refs all fucking playoffs. Although we're about to do our weekly rundown, the reffing has been better. But what did you think about the first round? Where you didn't like it, right?
No, I didn't like it at all. I thought it was just like inconsistent. There were like a lot of phantom calls to me. And yeah, I feel like the refs are almost trying to control it too much. And like for me, what I remember is like especially the first round of the playoffs. I mean, there's a lot that they let go, as they should. Like guys are trying their hardest, guys are playing hard. Like shit's gonna happen. They're calling like, you know, holds in the corner because a guy's glove would graze a dude's hip, you know, and they call it a hold. So yeah, I was rattled. And like I don't know if you guys know Tim Peel, but he was kind of coming at, I don't know what the relationship is there, but like he was kind of coming at me like, oh dude, be better, like they're doing a good job. And I was like, no, they're not. Like, what game are you watching, dude?
I saw that. I did see that.
Yeah, I mean, in my
Peeler was drunk too, for sure. Don't worry, Peeler was drunk for sure.
Yeah, he actually a day later he like tweeted me a picture of him drinking a beer, and I was like, that's funny. Yeah. But Yeah, I just think they're calling it like way too tight to begin with. Yeah.
100%. And now they're letting everything go. And I love it way more. But like the first round it's not like you can just be, okay, the first round's a gimme. We're going to get these young refs and what? Like Minnesota Wild, Marcus Foligno. I mean, if he had a different ref in that series, maybe it's different. Like you can't just say, okay, the first round's going to be called like this, and then the second round's going to be normal playoff hockey ups. Like,
well, they weed out half the refs in the second round too.
Like,
but yeah, no, I get it. It feels like just the first round's so emotional, back and forth, like way more physical than the second, third, fourth rounds, right?
Yeah.
But it just becomes more difficult for the refs, and we have so much hockey to consume that we're like, how come they can't just fucking get it right? You know, it is an issue, and it's always a fucking issue.
Yeah, it is a tough job too. Like I gotta, they have a hard fucking job. I know.
Totally.
But fucking put the whistle away. Don't make it harder. I hate when they have a hard job. Yeah, well, they're making it fucking harder. We had a hard job too. He had to go to the net against fucking Chris Pronger. I had to try to stop whoever. Yeah. Like everyone's job's hard. I hate when people make that excuse for them. They're getting paid well. Put your fucking whistle away. Everyone's job's hard.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck them.
Yeah,
dude.
fuck. Don't get soft on me now, bro.
That again.
Don't get soft on me now. Hey, you, our boy Mark Prince did a lot of homework on you. So Princey, thank you. Princey loves you. You love Darren Pang between the benches. What are your thoughts on TNT and ESPN as a guy that loves hockey and is doing some cool stuff? Do you like the telecast, or which one do you watch more?
TNT. I think TNT is great. I really like what TNT is doing. ESPN. I mean, they just got to be better, dude. Like it's tough. And I'm speaking from a fan perspective. I always want to, preface it was like, I understand they have, things that people they have to hire for specific reasons. But if you're the worldwide leader in sports and all that shit, like I think ESPN has to be way better. They just bother me. I think they're focused, not to get political, but I think they're more focused on the political side of things than to actually, focus on what the fans want and stuff. But I think TNT, I watch way more. I think they're excellent over there.
Yeah. What about the set on ESPN? I feel like with all that money at ESPN, like maybe let the set a little bit better.
Like Scott Van Pelt style.
Spread it out a bit. Our fucking studio is almost bigger. We're not even making any money here.
Where are they sticking them in the back closet?
Yeah, like they're like, hey, NHL, ESPN, back there in the fucking right beside the shitter. There's your studio.
Yeah, they just don't give a shit. I feel like they could do better, and it's no disrespect to certain people that work, because I like people that work for ESPN, but overall the product is just like, dude, what the fuck? And I have to like hold myself back from like complaining about it. I'm gonna complain about it more, but every time I watch an ESPN broadcast, I'm like, there's got to be better. Like it's figured out,
I agree.
Did you like the dude last night that called the Oilers game?
Was it Burke? Who called the Oilers game? Was it Burke? I don't know.
He was a little.
I was just so mad up you watching that game. I didn't even know who was calling the game.
Intense, and it's the play-by-play guy last night. He kind of bugs me. I don't know his fucking name.
I respect Brian Boucher. I respect Brian Boucher, but like sometimes as a color, like less is more. Like you don't need to talk as a whole play's going on, right? Like just less is more. I think for like stay in your net.
I guess I watch so much hockey now. I get picky.
Well, especially when your team that you put your money on is getting worked, you're probably the guy pissed you off a little bit more, right? Shut up, Burke. Fuck me.
Yeah,
hey,
for sure.
Heat Daddy. Me and the Updog are lucky we have DraftKings as one of our main sponsors. I gamble on hockey because some nights, if I didn't, I couldn't watch it. It's just so, too soft for me. Do you ever gamble on it? Do you like to bet on it, or are you just strictly watching it out of the passion of being a beaut?
Oh, no, dude. I'm gambling on everything. Like every game. Yeah, like Islanders, Hurricanes, I was just taking under every single game, just so I can not be pissed off about watching the lack of offense. Yeah. But I mean, some of those games surprised me. But yeah, I'll have action on like every game pretty much. It just makes it so much better. Especially, teams like the Oilers, and, you have the two, incredible players, betting on them to score. I think it's ridiculous. It's crazy. Like, I think Draisaitl was like minus 155 to score last night. And I'm just like, that is so belligerent. Like it's a testament to how good he is.
Yeah, right. That's crazy. Minus 155.
It's crazy. It's insane. But I definitely love hammering the over when teams like that are playing. Obviously it didn't work out last night, but
Shout out to our boy, Tom Riley. He does first period overs. And 2 years ago, I went on a run on first period overs. I remember one day I was at Uppy's old house and we had Florida Columbus first period over. Before the first TV timeout, it was a 2-0 Panthers. I'm like, there we go. That's a nice win. Yeah. And this series, Oilers Vegas, they've moved it up. Some people make it 2, which pisses me off, but it's hit. It's been 3 goals in the first 3 games. First period overs in that series seem to be just like locks.
It's a scary bet when it's 2.
A scary bet when it's 2.
But it's almost better than it being 1.5 because
at minus 190 or something.
Yeah,
right?
because if you only get the 1 or 0, you get fucking double smacked.
And when it goes 2, it brings it down to like basically a pickup even.
Yeah. So there's.
So yeah, maybe I got to give my balls a tug, eh?
Yeah. Well, just because odds are it's gonna tie.
Odds are that Skinner's going to let a stinker in before the fucking first TV time. What does that guy do before a game? Does he not do the ladder drill or play soccer? Like every game, I'm like, is shaky early. Let's win it.
Stretch the groins.
Fucking
By the way, speaking of groins, that kid put his groin on backwards, right?
Bourgeois.
Yeah, right away. Just you can know. It's
played junior up in Edmonton too. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
big boy, man.
I thought he was a Frenchie, but he's from Alberta, I think.
Yeah, big boy. Fuck.
You know what? We're actually going to talk about this. I think Hill's their best goalie. I feel bad for Bourgeois, but I think Hill's better than him.
Yeah,
and he looked pretty good last night when he came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves, actually, a lot of the time. I remember, like, Boucher, we were just talking about Boucher was acting like he was a rookie. I'm like, dude, he has, like, over 100 games. And if you watch him play, I was actually at the Knights game this year. They played the Devils, and Bratt and Hughes were just fucking buzzing. Like, those 2 kids, I could watch those 2 kids skate, forever. They're unbelievable. But Hill had, like, the best game of his career, and everyone was like, I'm like, dude, if you just watch the games a little bit, like you'll know, like he's a big guy, like he's sound, he's athletic. But yeah, I agree with you. I think he's their best option.
Speaking of big guys that weigh a lot, I probably should be chirping here, but what do you think Robert Leonard's weighing right now, wherever he is? Remember Robert Leonard last year, 2 years ago at the end of the season? I went to a game where his face mask was his fucking face. And I text down to a guy that works for Vegas. I'm like, this guy is not under 300 pounds right now. I guarantee you. And I got some intel that near the end of the season, he was north of 300.
Come on.
North of 300 playing net for the fucking Vegas Golden Knights.
Wow.
And I know he battled mental health and all that stuff. And I know that's a real thing, but that's a big boy between the pipes.
Yeah. You don't even have to go down if you're that big.
No, some of my golf buddies always be like, hey, why don't they just get the fattest guy to play goalie, like a sumo wrestler or something? I'm like,
because he won't be able to get up if he falls down.
Yeah, that's true. I'm like, once they start going post to post on, he might be in one. But I want to ask you about Devils fans, bro. I've me and Updog's a big Devils guy because of our boy Frosty and Jack Hughes. I love Jack Hughes too. But the Devils fans, man, they've been all over me. Do you ever get some hate from those people, or are you Devils supporter?
I'm a supporter of Jack Hughes. I like Bratt too. I like Mercer. But yeah, they're definitely all over me because sometimes, like I said, I'm from New York, and the kind of the Rangers bias comes out a little bit, and yeah, they'll be all over me for sure. And those people, they're a fiery group for sure. A lot of idiots too. So yeah, they'll be all over my shit.
Did you lose some money in
that
first round?
Rangers, man?
Yeah, did you lose some money in the first round?
That game 7 was embarrassing, right? Like,
yeah,
fucking.
I mean, dude, I thought they were gonna sweep. Like the first 2 games, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna sweep. And then they just, dude, they looked discombobulated. Like I don't know what's going on with Panarin or even Kreider. Like I feel like Kreider looked good, and then he kind of slowly disappeared. Zibanejad was like, what the fuck? I feel like, yeah, it was bizarre. It's like they just fell apart.
Too many superstars in a room, I think.
Not enough guys giving a fuck.
Just too many fucking guys needing the puck and being, I need to be the guy, and you can't have too many of those guys.
I just like, I was an average NHL player, but I can't imagine playing in a game 7 and not giving it everything you have. Like if you're, and I like Panarin, and I've argued with, our girl Jackie Redmond and EJ that I think Panarin is still the biggest star in New York, not Jack Hughes. And I don't know if I can say that anymore after the playoffs and the way he played in game 7. Like he wasn't even trying, it looked like to me. Like you got to dig in there.
Yeah, I don't know if they were tired or they looked tired, but they couldn't even pass the puck. It seemed like it was weird, but gotta hats off to the Devils for coming back 2-0. I think didn't they just do that again? They were down 2-0 and now
game 4 tonight. If they win tonight,
yeah, they love going down 0-2. It's fucking crazy.
No shit.
That's.
Speaking of who's left, well, what are your who do you think's the best team left? Who do you got to win the Stanley Cup? What are you thinking, fella?
I'm thinking, to be honest, man, after last night, I think Vegas. I think
fuck, they look good. I know. Fuck.
If they play like they did last night, I think Vegas has it. Like they look so clean. every time they were breaking out the puck, it was easy. They were just all over it. But I do think Florida. I think you know what? I'm gonna backtrack. I'm gonna say Vegas out of the West, Florida out of the East, and with those two, who knows? But Florida hit their fucking stride. Like they're on a mission. So I am kind of biased. I know some of the guys on Vegas, so I want them to win. But I'd say like the Panthers are the Knights for me.
Yeah, the Panthers, just their dressing room looks to be so much fun. Seattle Devils. He wouldn't be saying that if he's still in the league paying escrow. Seattle Devils. You fucking up, dog. Give me all your escrow money. You're not getting any back, fella.
Seattle's a crazy team. They look annoying to play against.
They are. They would be.
They just all play the same way. Like they all have good sticks. Like they first to every puck. Like,
I think they kick like the Oilers' ass because their depth.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on anymore. I thought the Oilers were going to just spank Vegas, and it was the other way around. And there's no rhyme or reason for anything. And I'm taking it on the chin, like it's fucking.
It is weird.
It's weird, right?
It is weird. Yeah, I think like Seattle has like 4 of the same exact lines. It seems like they just. And again, like from a fan, I think they could do it too. I just don't want them to.
Yeah, I don't know.
If they get Burakovsky and McCann back for like the next round, heads up.
Is there a chance Burakovsky can come back?
He's from what I know, like he's probably 2-3 weeks away.
Oh wow.
So he'd be back. I think he'd be back for mid next round, maybe.
Imagine a Vegas Kraken Western Conference final. Like how crazy would that be? Just like the two of the that'd be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Heat Daddy, your boys with Clayton Keller. Kells became a good buddy of ours. He's great to the pod. How often do you see him in Scottsdale? And more importantly, where do you go out and mix in Scottsdale? Because this guy used to run Scottsdale.
And did you sell him his pad or what? Is that your guy?
I knew him. Actually, that's another one that's like we talked about previously, like doors opening. Kind of met him through the account as well. It started out here with Jarrett Stoll. Actually, was like the first one to ever be like, hey, come have a couple. So it started with that, and just like since then, I meet guy. You know how it goes. You meet guys, and Kells was one of them. Even before when he wasn't even in the league yet. He was just out here already. But yeah, he's a fucking great kid. Obviously, incredible player, better guy. I did sell him his house. That is true.
Sick.
Sometimes I don't even say the guys because like I get nervous. Like I don't want
he won't care. He won't care. He won't care.
I try to keep that. It doesn't matter, but I always wonder. Like, I don't want to associate myself with them just in case.
Yeah. You don't want a scissor Cal. You don't want a sewer Cal. Saying he's with the Heat Daddy.
Yeah, exactly. But to your other question, where to go out? I've been mixing it up like crazy, man. I've been on a huge restaurant bar kick where I just go to Ocean 44. I go to Sanctuary.
Maple and Ash. Maple and Ash, nice spot.
I've been there only once, which is weird. I was actually just talking to somebody about that. I heard their brunch goes crazy. Like all the chicks in there are just like so horny. It's insane. That's a good one. Diego Pops. Montauk. Yeah, there's a bunch of places, dude. And it's like when I go out here, it's you want to go to one places we'll go to a couple of spots. You end up going to like 13 places. So those are a couple I go to.
I always said this. I would put the staff up in Scottsdale, like at Old Town or wherever you go. Like that staff is like maybe besides Vegas, would you put Scottsdale as the best staff?
Yeah, it's because they're all wanting to get to LA, but they haven't quite got there yet, and they're just still they're all just still so like ready to pounce.
It's crazy, dude. I can't even drive through Old Town anymore. I'm like looking left and right, like about the rear end of the car in front of me, just like looking at the town. Like it's really ridiculous.
Speaking of Scottsdale Waste Management, I go every year. You seem like you might be a staple at Waste Management. Is that something you like to take part in or what?
Yeah, I've crawled around there a couple of years in a row now.
Drunkest people I've ever seen, dude. I used to go to Bonnaroo with this beauty, Coachella, Outside Lands. Drunkest people I've ever seen in my life is Waste Management. When they walk out of there, they are tuned up.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with being outside. You don't realize that you're outside, in the sun all day, just like drinking. But yeah, that event is crazy. And also, like speaking of Kells, he's always like, hey, we have I have this pass you could have, or that pass, like greenskeeper, whatever. Like all this shit that I shouldn't be at, and they let me go. Like the Coyotes have a great group. They they really show me a good time too. So waste management is one of them where I really like, I let it rip there. I floor it. So yeah, it's definitely a shit show, but in a good way.
Yeah, let me ask you about the Coyotes because I was a big fan of them. Unfortunately, me and the Updog didn't make it to Mullet Arena this year, which was a bummer. But the new rink, it's coming up the vote soon here. Like Tempe, it's a great place if they can get this new barn. Like we think Austin Matthews will go back home if they can get that new rink.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I think it would be a perfect fit because by the time it's done, what would he be? 29, 30 years old or something like that. By the time it got done, I think like that's like right in the pocket. So I hope they get it done. I think whoever are the idiots that put it in the West Valley are just like, I understand around the area in Glendale, like that little venue and the restaurants it's a good setup, but it's just in the wrong place.
Yeah,
I think if you had a real arena in Tempe or in the East Valley, man, like people would really see that, like, people come to the games and enjoy the sport for sure. But hopefully it goes through. I don't know the politics behind it. Like, I don't know if it's a bunch of fucking old people that don't want it there or whatever, but hopefully it goes through. It'll be huge.
I agree. Well, Heat Daddy, thanks, buddy. You're a beauty. Keep it going. Next time we're in Scottsdale, or if you're ever out in LA, hit us up. We'll definitely mix it out. It's getting too hot for being Scottsdale now, but maybe I'll see you in the fall out there. I got to come see Kels play some golf with him.
And send us some places, eh? We might move this ship right out to the desert.
Fuck, yeah.
We might just pack up this studio and all this shit.
This thing's right on wheels. We just wheel right out of here. We can go wherever we want.
We're fed up with the taxes, eh? We want to come out and enjoy that sunny weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks for having me on. This is a blast. I appreciate it.